Welcome back to the OMB Law Board. I'm Simon Bennett, property partner at OMB Solicitors, and today I've got Bailey with me. Welcome, Bailey.
Hi, Simon. How are you going?
Pretty good. Thanks for coming along today.
No problem.
So we're going to talk today, given your age demographic, about buying your first property. It's a massive first step.
Yeah, it really is a massive first step. And when you consider the financial obligation that you're going to be incurring, it's really good to do your due diligence to make sure that when you are buying your first property, that you are in for what you are expected to go into, whether, that means that the clauses you have in your contract are correct and making sure that everything's the way you want it with your very first home purchase.
So what is some of that due diligence that you talked about? What due diligence should you be doing as a young person buying your first property?
Some of the due diligence you should be doing is, first and foremost, do your research on what property you want to buy, what kind of property you may want to have, whether that's residential, whether it's an investment property. Do your research, look at the housing prices, look at the market, ensure that you're paying the right price for kind of what house you want to look at. Kind of following that, you then want to probably get in touch with a financial advisor, understanding, how much obligation you want to provide with your finances, whether that's you want to pay a deposit, you've got enough for a deposit, what do you want to get into with your mortgage, etc.
So understanding, firstly, the market conditions and the value of the property I'm buying and the type of property I want to buy. Then we're thinking about how much I can borrow and what my financial commitment and capacity is. And then what about the contract stage? What do we do there?
For the contract stage, we always recommend seeing a solicitor, making sure that what you've been told from an agent with respect to a property you're looking to purchase is actually included. Representations made by certain agents might not be exactly true, and what's in the contract, what you've been told versus what lays in the contract may be completely different, and you may be liable for certain things that you weren't expecting.
So do I really need a lawyer to check the contract first, or can I just sign away?
With signing away, there's a lot of risks you might have. For an example, one of the ones being, if you need finance, a clause within the property contracts in Queensland is that your contracts can be subject to finance, subject and conditional, where the fact is, if you can't get your finance, you can exit out of the contract to where you're no longer liable. Or not only that, but the building and pest, if you want to do your own inspections, if you don't have the certain provisions within the contract, you may be liable and you still have to purchase the property, even if there is things that are wrong.
Okay, so my solicitor can check those things for me. And if we get that right and we make the contract subject to finance and then I don't get my approval, do I get my money back, my deposit?
Yes, you do get your deposit back. However, if you didn't have those within the contract, if you didn't have those terms, you're liable for that property and you will have to purchase it unless obviously you exit out under the statutory cooling off period, which you may have to forfeit 0.25% of the purchase property.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is there's a lot to think about when buying your first property. It can be daunting. You definitely need some help along the way, and OMB property law team can definitely help you with it. Bailey, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your perspective on buying your first property. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Simon.